Hi, this is Jo Marie Domino from Vippies Designs and Decoupage Rocket Girls. And as you know, I'm very excited that Vippies added decoupage to their website. So why am I so excited? I went to a thrift store today and I bought this basket. It was around 20 cents and it went from this to this, and this is what decoupage is all about, and that is why I'm so excited that Vippies added this to their website. Well, I put together a list of crafting supplies you need to decoupage, and some of these things you probably already have, but I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to give you some really good decoupaging tips along the way. These are tips I really wish I had when I first started. Okay, let's begin. The first few are just some general crafting tips I just wanted to share with you. One of them is to have handy wipes or baby wipes on your crafting table. I have found that these will take paint and glue off of my hands quicker than soap and water. Another thing I like to have is a little scrap bin like this where I could put all my little pieces of paper into. It's just an old coffee can, and of course I decoupage it so it's pretty. Okay, now I like to work on newsprint like this. I don't like working on plastic. I have found with plastic, if I get paint or glue on there, that there's a pretty good chance that if it doesn't dry, it's going to get onto my project, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why I love to work on newsprint. Another thing I like, and if you've seen any of my tutorials, you know this, I love to work on paper plates, especially, of course, for small objects. I can paint or decoupage. I can put it aside to dry, and I don't have to touch it. Okay. Now, onto decoupage glue. Okay, Mod Podge is a brand of decoupage glue, and there are several brands out on the market. Now, this is not like white school glue. White school glue is actually thicker. If you want to try it, you just want to add a little bit of water. Okay, now, with these glue bottles, what happens is glue collects inside, and it gets to be hard to get the lids off and on. This is a really good tip. What you want to do is you want to take a little bit of petroleum jelly and just put it in there so that the lid won't get stuck. And another thing, before I forget, is glue collects inside the mouths of these jars, and what happens is it gets clumpy and it falls into the glue, and you don't want that to happen. So from time to time, you just want to wipe out the mouth of the jar. All right, on to the painting. Now, most things you decoupage are probably going to have a base paint. I use a lot of white, so I get big bottles of white, and then of course I use the little bottles of the color, and this is just plain cheap white acrylic paint. Okay, on to brushes. Now, I have a large selection of brushes, and I just found that some brushes work better with some things than others, and different types of paints, and depending upon what kind of glues you're using, you just want to just experiment with different kinds of brushes. All right, now on to the decorative decoupage napkins. Okay, of course, these are very, very important. They come in all different sizes and all different designs, and here's that one, and all different colors. They're absolutely beautiful. And now, Vippies have added decoupage to their website, and they have a very large and ever-growing and changing selection of decorative napkins. They even have vintage napkins. You want to check their Facebook page, because I think that's where they go first, is onto their Facebook page. And the thing about Vippies is you only have to buy 2 napkins. You don't have to buy any more than that. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of the same. So you can come up with a nice collection of napkins from Vippies. All right, now working with napkins. This is definitely one of the tips, some of the tips I wish I had known when I first started. All right, so when you purchase a napkin, they have what's called 2 or 3 plies. Only the top ply is the printed one. That's the one you need to use. It's very thin and it's very pretty and delicate. So we have to remove the back layers to get to that. Okay, so with this napkin, I've decided I'm going to use this little bird, and I'm going to cut the napkin first. So if you're not using the whole napkin, cut it first, because it's much easier to cut while the plies are still attached than it is to cut that thin little piece like that. Okay, so now we're on to removing the plies, and we do that with our decoupage glue. It's right there on the table, so it's very convenient. And you put it between your fingers, and then you press down, and wow, look at that. See how easy that was? And there's my little birdie. Look at it. Okay, now, and I want to put this onto whatever object. In this case, I'm doing a rock. I want to do what's called a deckled or softened edge. I don't want to glue it down like this because I'm going to see those hard edges. I don't want that. I want it to be soft. So to do this, we do what's called a deckled edge. And I found this. This is an amazing product. It's called a water brush. It has a brush on one end, like here, and then there's a tube here that's filled with water. And the water is dispensed through the brush. One quick tip before I go any further is do not fill this tube all the way with water. It doesn't work very well, so only fill it about halfway. All right, now I'm going to deckle the edge. What I do is I'm just going to use the brush, and I'm going to go around the area that I want, like that. You can see the water. And then I'm just going to use my fingers, and I'm going to pick at it, okay? Because the water made it really easy to work with. Okay, can you see? It's very easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. We used to do it the old-fashioned way, where we dip our brush into water. And if you do a lot of decoupaging like I do, well, this is just an amazing product. There you go. See how pretty that is? So when you go to put it on, it just blends right into the rock or whatever it is that you're decoupaging. It's very, very pretty. This is really a great product, the water brush. All right. Another thing you like to have on the table is emery boards. What happens is sometimes when we're decoupaging, a little piece of the napkin hangs over, and we don't want that. So we want to have a nice clean edge. So you just use an emery board like this until the little pieces of napkin come off. So these are always a little nice handy thing to have on your crafting table. Okay, saran wrap. Saran wrap is very important when you're decoupaging because once you get glue onto this little piece of napkin, what happens is it gets very, very fragile. When we use saran wrap on top of the napkin, we're able to work with it and it doesn't tear. Make sure you watch my beginner's video where I show you a couple really good techniques on using the saran wrap. That's very, very important for decoupaging. Okay, now you did your decoupage item. Now you want to protect it. You worked hard, right? So you want it to be safe. So then you want to go on to using a sealant. Okay, so sealants come in 3 finishes. There's matte, which is just no gloss. There's satin, where you have a little bit of sheen. And then there is gloss, which makes it really nice and shiny. See how that is? That was from the gloss. Okay, now there's brush on, which is door clear, and you can do that inside. It has very low to no odor. And then there's spray sealant, which also works good. That's a high odor, though. You want to make sure you do that outside. And one other thing you need to know is if any of the things you're decoupaging are going to go outside, you want to check the label to see if it's weather resistant. That's very, very important because you put it outside and it rains, then it can get ruined. So make sure you check the label for that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a few things that you can do, places where you can get started. Okay, so these are little paper mache berry boxes I found, and I just painted it white, and I decoupaged with this beautiful napkin. This is just a tin can, and of course with some very pretty mermaids. And tin cans are very readily available. Another thing I love, love, love to decoupage is shells. They're so pretty. This is a little scallop shell, and of course you can do the inside of the shell. This is actually a vintage napkin, and you can also do the outside of the shells. Look how pretty that is. All right, another thing, I like to do little fun things that are easy to come by, are little notebooks. These are just little books I got at the dollar store, and they're cute once you decoupage on top. Another thing I like to do, and this is something I also found in a thrift store, I painted it white. I added pieces of this is a vintage napkin as well. And then I just added one of these little Vippies calendars on the bottom. And now this would make a really nice gift. So these are all fun. Let me see. I also have here, this is just a plain glass bottle that I decoupaged. This is driftwood. See, just plain driftwood. And she happened to fit perfectly on that. And of course, we have shown our carpenter shims that you can use as well. And also, okay, one thing before we go is storing your napkins. I don't want to forget this. This is definitely something I wish I knew. As you start to collect your napkins, you want to keep them safe. You don't want them to get all jumbled up and wrinkled. So you want to put them into something that's going to protect them. I found that food storage bags are one of the best things you can use. It keeps them clean, it keeps them dry. You can write whatever category, like for instance, Christmas on the outside. I put in a nice thick piece of cardstock in there to keep it nice and straight. But then I actually go one step further. And when I'm cutting apart napkins, a lot of times I have little pieces left over. Well, I put them inside a bag, and then I put that inside because I'm not going to throw these away. There's a pretty good chance I'm going to use them for something. And I also like to do that with my vintage collection as well, so they'll also stay safe. Okay, I think I covered all the basic decoupaging supplies, and I really hope that you're going to find my tips helpful. So for more information on any of the products on the table, and especially the Decoupage decorative napkins, I also have more sample projects. I have more videos coming. You can go to www.vippies.com. And on behalf of Vippies Designs and Decoupage Rocket Girls, this is Jo Marie Domino, and thank you for watching my video.